I was in the US, I was working odd jobs, I was working at the dish room in my college, and they can spend more on education, they can spend more on bettering the life standard of living. 6 to 7 years to make it happen on top of that.
Hi everyone, I am thrilled to welcome you all to yet another exciting episode of Storymakers. Behind every successful story, there is a dream, and we are here to explore these milestones. Joining us today is Kabir Israni, a young, handsome entrepreneur who has done his computer science from Massachusetts. He has done his intern with ServiceNow and also has helped in the development and growth of a company like Vex Data. Well, he belongs to a family of successful entrepreneurs, and he himself is passionate about using technology in the stream of real estate investments. I'm very honored to welcome Kabir Israni on our show, Storymakers. So Kabir, I really want to ask you this. What inspired you to have this company Raveum?
Okay, so Raveum started as a means to a need for myself. I was in the US, I was working odd jobs, I was working at the dish room in my college, and then I worked as a software engineer, and I started to make some money, like a lot of young adults do. You have some money, but you don't really know what to do with it. And I was looking for a place that I could invest that money. And being an Indian, real estate is really embodied in our culture, and I always wanted to go down that route. And with my little amount of money, I could never find a way to do it. And I never boarded well with the stock market because I didn't believe in it too much. And mutual funds were sort of alien to me. I really wanted to get into real estate, and there was no way to do that at a fraction of the cost. And Raveum was made so that I myself could find a way to invest. So what happened was that we found a way to actually invest in the stock market for as little as $100, which is 10,000 rupees.
Wow.
And that's how we started Raveum, and that's the reason it came up to be.
So as paving your path for yourself, you actually founded a company like Raveum.
Correct.
Incredible. So your experience in computer science and your internship with ServiceNow.
Correct.
So how do you contribute technically into Raveum with your experience?
So I come from a computer science background. I majored in artificial intelligence specific. That was my specialization. And working at ServiceNow, which is a Fortune 500 company and an enterprise grade software, I learned how to make software in a way that it was scalable and secure. Now ServiceNow works with every company around the world, and we know how to keep data secure. And at Raveum, we take that methodology that I learned from there to have the same level of scrutiny over our platform. And when it comes to contributing towards our team, we have a bunch of great software engineers who work with us, and I work with them to execute their vision, and they have their own ideas. But at the end of the day, we're looking at enterprise grade level software that I think if it was stress tested by ServiceNow or any of the great scientists at UMass Amherst, I think it would pass with flying colors. So that's really how the technological aspect has impacted us.
That's wonderful that your experiential knowledge is actually, you're using it technically in Raveum now.
Yeah.
So Kabir, how does it stand out? Your company Raveum stands out in the real estate market.
Absolutely. So Raveum is the first time anyone from India, regardless of your income class, regardless of your background, can invest in US real estate. And that also just for rupees 10,000. It's never been done before that you can sit from your home, whether you're in Bihar, whether you're in Bombay, whether you're in Delhi, go on our platform, Raveum.com, open an account and press buy shares, and that's it. You're now owning a piece of property in New York, or you're owning a piece of property in Miami. And it stands out as real estate because in India, fractional real estate does exist, but the minimum ticket is 25 lakhs. And that immediately gatekeeps it away for more than 80% of the population, right? With us, we have kept it open to anyone from any walk of life. And that's how it stands out as just a real estate product in general. But what's made it really interesting and why it's doing so well in the market is because it is specifically US real estate. And the idea that you can just sit back without any visa and invest in New York has been something that has been a dream come true for a lot of our investors. And we'll go over why it's important, but that's really the essence of the matter.
It is so awe-inspiring that you've made things just a click away. It's been so easy for the Indian investors to invest in the US now, and all thanks to you. So, Kabir, I want to ask you, there is a gap that you've already spoken about, that there is a gap in the real estate. So how does Raveum identifies and addresses it?
Absolutely. I think before we talk about addressing the gap, we should talk about how Raveum actually creates the returns for you, because that's how we can actually talk about reducing the gap, which is our main vision. Now, the reason Raveum as an investment product, the reason we offer US real estate asset by asset is important is that anyone from India can go online and select different properties. There's a FedEx building in New York, there is a CVS in Winsboro, Texas. They can choose the asset that they want to and invest in it. And the reason the returns are so well are threefold. Number one is rental yield. Now in India, the term rental yield is used to reflect how much rental income you're getting out of a property. In the US, you use the word cap rate, which is basically rental yield minus all the taxes and expenses. So it's that 1 degree higher of scrutiny. Now cap rates in India are at about 3.5%, 3%. In Bombay, it's 1.5% because Bombay is a mature market, but it ends around there. In the US, you can find easily 8.5%, 8%. So it's almost threefold an increase in terms of rental income that you can get. So that's why it's such an interesting product and from that perspective itself. Next is the property appreciation. Now, the US is a very mature market in terms of what it can offer. It has given average return rates of about 4.5% the last 20 years, 8% over the 10 years, and there are obviously random booms in like Austin, Texas or Miami, Florida that you can see. But the idea is that consistent property appreciation with threefold higher rental yield rates is what has made US real estate such an interesting opportunity for the affluent class that over the last couple of decades, they're applying for EB-5 visas and they're trying to move over to US. But for the average Indian investor, the third prong that they have to take a look at is dollar appreciation. Now, India is on the verge of becoming one of the strongest economies in the world. We have the largest population. And in my opinion, we are some of the most resilient people. Now, I've been to the US, now I've been back, I truly believe so, and I've come back over here to believe that as well. But what's going to happen is that once India starts developing at the scale that it's going to currently, India is going to spend a lot more money in India itself, and we're going to have inflation. And inflation is not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's needed for any economy to grow. But as a result of that, the Indian rupee will weaken against the dollar, and that's not alarming at all. But when you invest with us at Raveum, you're investing in the US dollar in US properties. So when you get your returns, you're getting them in US dollars. So let's say you invest today with us, in 4 years when you pull out your return, you have made not only rental appreciation, not only property appreciation, but also dollar appreciation. Which is why by math, and it's undeniable that we are the most competitive product on the market right now. And all this is to say is that these returns, this crafted way of returns is what we are using to execute our vision. Now, our mission is to reduce the gap between the rich and the poor and ultimately push the poverty line down by 8%. And we did the math out with this dollar appreciation, with the rental yield, with the rental cap rates, with the property appreciation. Our product as it stands can reduce the poverty line by 8% in a year and a half if we had significant amount of people investing with us. So the bottleneck is us. We have to be able to offer enough properties for the market to sign up and make it happen. So that's how we intend to do it. And that's how we intend to pursue that down the line. And another interesting thing is that fixed deposit and mutual funds, I'm sure you're personally invested in them, your family's personally invested in them. You see the returns at the end of the year.
Yes, true.
With rental income, every family in India will get that capital back every quarter. So they can increase their disposable income spending and they can spend more on education, they can spend more on bettering the life standard of living. And it is that aspect of increasing the rapid amount of spending over the years while increasing the returns is how we can prop up the economy to a way it can never happen. Now, affluent people will never see that happen towards them because they're already spending what they want to spend. The excess money they make will never happen. But for a middle class family, you're talking about an 8% increase on spend every quarter. That's significant and that they can actually achieve. Now, let me ask you a question. If I told you invest with us right now for 20 years, I guarantee that you're going to be making this amount of money because rental yields are guaranteed for 20 years by corporate companies.
True.
Wouldn't you be more comfortable going out and spending more money in the market, spending more money on your family, spending more money on education?
It makes me very proud as an Indian that, someone like you, a young entrepreneur, is coming back to India and thinking about the benefits of not only the most affluent ones, but you are thinking about the India as a whole nation. You're thinking about the progress of every Indian, and that also a click away and in the minimum amount.
Correct.
As you already said that it is only for 10,000 that you can buy a property in the US.
Correct.
Kabir, I wanted to ask you, what are the challenges that the traditional real estate is right now facing, and what is the alternate solution that Raveum right now has to offer them?
So traditional real estate is not bad per se. but you have to be at a particular income level to be able to delve into it. Now you need to have, there are very high entry costs. You have to have significant operational burdens to owning, maintaining from a second home, and you have to have high upfront costs to put a deposit down, to take a loan against the property. Now, not all of us have 2-3 crores lying around to buy a property and then have the staff to go maintain it and make money from it. So traditional real estate methods have been historically locked away to the upper and upper middle class of any economy around the world. It is not just India. Now, Raveum allows you to invest without any of the operational burdens. We take care, we manage your property. We have extreme real estate professionals who have been doing this for quite some time. And your entry cost is just 10,000 rupees. So now, regardless of how much income you have and how much time you have, you're able to access an asset class that has been locked away from you for generations, right? And that is the big difference maker between us and traditional real estate. And whether that be real estate in India or the US, the fact of the matter is that you have to have money and time to manage them. And now with us, it's just you sit down, you click 3 buttons and you're in. That's all it is.
Yeah, that you've made things so easy.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
But how have you simplified? Yes, you have simplified for the Indian investors here to invest in the property in US. I mean, how can you explain it further?
Well, so the important thing is that, okay, we already spoke about that traditional real estate is hard to get into because it's expensive and it requires time. So you have to have made a lot of money and have excess time to benefit from a second home. Now, moving a leg forward, if you wanted to invest in US real estate, you have to first circumventulate the LRS rules. You can't invest more than $250,000 per year out of India. You have a lot of legal red tape to make it happen. So historically, investing in US real estate from India is the top 0.001% of Indians to make it happen, because you have to have a green card and you have to have an NRO account to make it happen. So it takes about 6 to 7 years to make it happen on top of that. So you're only seeing those investors who have made a lot of money being able to access this real estate class. So what Raveum does is it gives you the benefit of not only traditional real estate, but also international real estate that these investors have been taking benefit of for the past decades.
So, you know, you've actually made a breakthrough through these barriers and helped all the investors to invest there. And I'm sure your team is quite supportive and they are thankful to you.
Level the playing field.
Yeah.
And our team is pretty motivated because so our team is small. They only have 10 software engineers as staff and staff in the US. But because the goal is what it is, and if you really think about it, like as a baseline goal being trying to help your country, and we all are Indians, that has been a big driving force for them to go above and beyond to make something like this happen. That's been great.
So, Kabir, your goal has been to, you know, help in the financial growth for everyone. You're making it accessible to everyone, not limiting it to only a affluent few.
Correct.
So, how do you do that through Raveum?
So, the first reason is, like you mentioned earlier, is the entry cost. Now, if the entry cost is 25 lakhs, 50 lakhs, then investors who have that kind of disposable income can invest. And that's the current state of fractional real estate in India. With us, if you sign up and you see an offering, you can invest for as little as 10,000 rupees. So your barrier to enter international real estate has been dropped from about $1 million to just 10,000 rupees. So that's a large drop off. 80 crores to it's an extremely large drop off. And what we're actively doing is that when we launched the product in the market, we saw a lot of investors who wanted to invest, obviously because the math doesn't lie and people want to invest, but they were of the affluent class. They had a lot of capital on hand. And we are coming on shows like this and we're going around talking about it so that we can go and educate the young adults of India, the future HNI, and explain to them, okay, you can start now and you can take advantage of the growth that India is set out to be in right now. Because we don't mandate that you take in your returns every quarter. You can leave them over there and you can take them as you see fit. So you could just bet on India in general and bet on the fact that India is going to appreciate the way we expect it to appreciate and then get your returns back.
I have young adults at home. Do you think it is just a click away for them to buy a property?
Yeah, it is.
You've made it that accessible?
Yeah, all they have to do is just go online to like Raveum.com and just make an account. It takes you 4 minutes.
Wow.
4 minutes, and regardless of who you are, where you're from, you can invest in US real estate now.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
So, What are the potential returns for your investors that you can explain us here?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, like I said earlier, cap rates average at about 8.5%, 8% with our particular offerings, right? But let's say that that's not possible. Let's be super conservative and say 6.5% is the cap rate that we offer, which is still 2 times more than the in we call US investment amount. And let's take a look at dollar appreciation. Now, we both know that, okay, interest rates were cut down by 0.5% recently. But if India goes to major growth, dollar will appreciate the level it appreciates. But let's ignore all that and let's stay super conservative. 20 years of data says 3.2% is going to be dollar appreciation as well. And the 20-year average in the US is 4.5% for property. A lot of numbers I'm throwing at you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But idea is property appreciation at
I'm trying to
4.5%, rental income at 6.5%, and dollar appreciation at 3.2%. So if you just factor in those three returns with our platform itself, you can expect in 5 years to have an annual return of 17.5%.
Wonderful.
And that is data that we are seeing with past offerings. So what we did was we identified offerings we wanted to put on the platform 5 years ago, and we saw how well they perform in the market now, and we're identifying similar offerings now. Now, things depend on market fluctuations, and there are
Yes,
definitely
of
risks, but these are actual offerings, and investors now have access to perfect information. You can go online and research these things yourself as well. And at Raveum, we made it so simple that you can go on the platform. Not only do you get all the historical data of the property, you also get the risk analysis that we do. And you get all the information you need. So even if you aren't an affluent investor, you're not someone who's been doing this for such a long time, you can just go there and figure it out. And then you'll be happy to make it happen. Because it's targeted towards who want to get something done but don't know how to start. And that's the way it worked out.
So my dear audience, Kabir here has made things so easy. Just you have to click on Raveum.com. In 4 minutes time, you can make your account and get to know all the lucrative properties he has there for you. And yes, you all can invest in it. But Kabir, I want to ask you more about how do you manage the tenant managements and how do you make it hassle-free for your investors?
So what we work with is multiple net commercially pre-leased properties. Now, this is something that is not new to India. So we work with investment-grade tenants like FedExes and CVSs, and what they do is they have these huge 20-year, 10-year deals on particular real estate properties. And because they are backing those properties itself, they commit to us that, okay, for 20 years, not only will we take care of all the inspections, not only will we take care of all the property management, all we'll do is give you the income at the end of the year. It's not a new concept at all. So there is no inherent risk to us in terms of management because it's managed by these big companies like FedEx, like CVS, which is like a Fortune second on the list right now. And as a result of that, tenant management is very easy. So when you come on a platform, we only give you tenants that are of that caliber and leases that are that long, 10-year, 20-year leases. So you have the peace of mind that not only do you have the best of the tenant who has 7,000 other locations in the US and 25,000 locations worldwide, but also they give you corporate guarantee that in case they want to leave the property, they'll pay out the entire lease in full and you can go ahead and challenge them for that. And in the US, that's a very secure thing to do because the legal system is very mature over there and you can really go down that pathway. So when it comes to tenant management, that's how we solve it. When it comes to property management, all we do is send your returns to your wallet each quarter. And from our perspective, what we are managing is just the fact that when do we exit the property at the right time to maximize your returns.
So for a hassle-free experience, I think Raveum is your solution. So Kabir, just tell me, what are your immediate priorities since following the launch of Raveum?
Yeah, the immediate priorities are being able to find the middle-class investor and educate them. It has not been a hard breakthrough to get investors on the platform right now because you can just talk about it and they'll be interested in it. You can go online, do some marketing, and they understand what it is because they get what we're trying to sell.
Of course.
But to educate the young adults, like I said, those investors, those wannabe investors who want to be HNIs and they have high aspirations, you have to break through that level of market and break through that level of understanding and get them to go and experience and risk on learning something that they aren't aware of right now. So one of my most immediate goals is finding a way to reach those people and explain to them these are opportunities that you should be taking a part of right now so you can actually bet on India's growth because your returns here are going to get much higher. I don't expect them to put all their capital with us. Obviously, hedge your bets, make sure you diversify your portfolio. But the idea is that we have to get to those individuals. And the next challenge is going to be getting enough assets in the platform. We have this huge wait list of people that want to invest. We have to make sure that we can get enough assets in the platform to actually sufficiently make the supply meet the demand, basically, and make sure everyone's having a decent experience to make it happen.
So, Kabir, since you're talking about the young adults and the young Indians who should invest in the US market, please reflect what is the age bracket that you're looking for? What is the age bracket you think is right that they could also become investors at a young age?
Candid, the average investor who comes on Raveum right now is between 32 and 45. And that's something I can't control. They see the investment, they have experience, they want to make it happen. But Raveum was made for those adults between 18 to 26. Because that's who, I mean, I'm in that age group myself. I'm in that age bracket itself. We design the platform in a way that those who are technologically friendly and are able to understand things online quickly can make it happen. Because myself, I know the way it's changed the life of my investors. I can foresee what would happen in 5 years. If you're 18 right now, you invest with us and you keep building your portfolio, by the time you're 24, 25, you have backed yourself to have the most stable financial standing could be, which is the US market. Now, it's a common phrase, when the US sneezes, the rest of the world gets cold, because the US is the most dominant economy there is, and I don't doubt that. As an Indian who's very Indian myself, I completely understand that. But it's a safe hedge against all uncertainty in the world. Now, there's so many wars happening.
Yes.
There's a lot of political uncertainty. It's very clear to be aware of that.
Yeah.
So if you had to hedge your bets, you take that in the economy that sort of dominates the rest of them. And I think the young adults who will eventually take care of their parents, like the way I'll take care of my parents, and will eventually lay the path for their foundation for their family, they have to be aware that international markets are now accessible for them and not just for the ultra wealthy. So that's what it is.
So Kabir here actually addresses to the young adults, and he wants you to be financially stable. He wants you to be secure at a young age and take care of your parents as he's doing himself.
Well, not yet. But yes, I guess not yet.
But the thought itself is so positive, Kabir, and I think we should filter this thought to the young Indians here.
Okay, yes, thank you.
So Kabir, you're only 22 and you have been so successful already. And tell me, how do you inspire your friends or your relatives or your siblings, I must say?
Yeah, when it comes to inspiring my siblings or my friends, it's an odd question to ask, because I have an older brother, Zubin, and a younger brother, Zoran. And Zoran's 13, he could not care less about what I'm doing. He just asked me, so Kabir, how will I make money? That's all he's ever asked me himself.
This is all they want to know.
This is all they want to know. How do I make money, but not actually how to do it, right? But then my older brother himself, he's a data analyst. He's been working, he works with me when I'm working as well, so it's nice. But when it comes to my friends, a lot of my friends have now come for the journey. My CEO, Ayush, he's been with me thick and thin. He's been with me for 7 years now, and he's been working with Raveum for the last year now. So he's there with me, and I have a couple of other friends like Nikita and Krish who started their own companies since I've been in their circles. Whether I was an influence of that, I wasn't, I don't know. But I guess it's just being around that circle of people and talking to them that makes it easy to make it happen, right? So, I mean, have you heard that quote that says that you are who you're the 5 closest people to you, right? That's a very well-known quote. And I think for me, it's been my co-founder, my friends, my brothers, and my parents, right? So I've been very blessed in that regards to be around people who want to build something and are okay to take that risk. But if I have influenced them or not is yet to be seen. I'm still 22. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right question for me yet, but yeah.
I think I'll take this learning from you, Kabir, that yes, you've been around the best of people. As you said, the best company is to be around the world, the most beautiful and lovely 5 people that you want to be with, and see they are there with you in this journey of Raveum. You already said 3 or 2 of your friends are there with you in Raveum, and they are helping you with this dream of yours.
Correct, absolutely. But on a closing note, I would like to say one thing.
Yes.
If you go to Raveum.com right now, I understand, like I've gotten the problems before that you're not able to actually invest yet. And we are actively working on making it possible for more investors, especially the young adults, to do it. So hopefully by October, we have opened the platform up, and we are going to restrict those investors to not invest more than $50,000 at once or 50 lakhs at once, so that we can get those young adults at those lower tickets, because we truly want people like us, like our team, to actually benefit from what we are doing. So when October comes, do not be hesitant. We'll find a way to make it work for you and make sure that we are able to accommodate those people that are closest to us and closest to our goal. Because what's the point in making the rich the richer, right? You have to be working towards the younger adults. So that's what we're looking at.
So Kabir, how quickly can you get the assets on the platform of Raveum?
Right. So I mean, if you go right now, it's some of them are in early access, but a lot of them are sold out. What we do is our due diligence process is very heavy. It takes us almost 60 days after identifying a property to put it on the platform. So we're working actively to reduce that gap. And this October, we want to do a new set of maybe 10 properties and then go beyond that. So we're working actively to make that happen. But we do have close to 100,000 people as a wait list right now. So it may be some time before a lot of new investors can get access, or we may completely abandon the wait list and restart again. So let's see.
Okay, a wise man once told me buying a real estate is the simplest way, quickest way, safest way, but the only way to become wealthy. And over here we have Kabir Israni, who has given us the basic logistics of just going a click away and buying properties in the US. Thank you, Kabir, for being on our show. It was lovely interacting with you.
Thank you.